Okay guys, in this video, we are going to be wrapping up Unit 2 and we're going to learn how to write, solve, and graph inequalities in context. Real life situations can be written as an inequality. To translate a situation into an inequality, identify a formula, determine the appropriate inequality symbol, and define each element using one type of variable. Then, once you establish the elements of the situation, plug each value or expression into the formula, and this creates your inequality equation. And then lastly, apply the algebraic properties to solve the inequality. So this is the same as writing word problems as an equation, except we're going to be using inequality symbols instead. Jackson runs no less than 50 miles a week. So no less is going to help us establish which inequality symbol. So far, he has ran 22 miles and has 4 remaining days to run this week. What is the least number of miles he needs to run each day to meet his goal? So we have the rate, which is going to be 4 times x, plus what he's already ran, which is the constant, and it needs to be no less than, so equal or greater than 50. The rate is going to be 4 times x, where x is going to be miles. Then the constant, he's already ran 22 miles. And now let's plug in. So for the rate, we have 4 days times each, how many miles he runs each of those days, plus the 22, and it needs to be greater or equal to 50. So let's solve for x. Isolating the variable, undo multiplication by division, and he needs to run 7 miles each remaining day in order to meet the goal. So we're going to write that as x is greater or equal to 7, and now let's graph the solution. So 7 is included as part of the solution. So as long as he runs 7 or more miles for the next remaining days, each day, he will meet his goal. Carrie can spend a maximum of $500 for her back-to-school wardrobe. She has already spent $175 and wants to go to 5 more stores where she plans to spend her remaining money equally. How much can you spend in each store and remain in her budget? So again, we're going to have the rate plus the constant of what she's already spent. So the rate's going to be the 5 stores times how much ever money per store plus what she's already spent, and it's the maximum. So erase this. We don't want to put that in yet. We want to make the formula. So the rate plus the constant needs to be equal to 500 or less. We can't go over 500. That's all she has. So the rate is going to be 5 times x, where x represents money. So she has the 5 stores times, she's going to spend the equal amounts of money per 5 store. And then she has already spent $175. So now we're going to plug in our expressions and values into our formula. So 5 times x plus the 175 needs to be equal or less than 500 to stay within the budget. I'm going to subtract 175 divide by 5, and x needs to be less than or equal to 5 into 32 goes 6 with 2 left over, so $65 or less per store. Okay, so x is going to be $65 or less. If it's less, then she'll have some cash left over. So 65 is included or less. Okay, you finish out these problems, make sure to create a formula, identify the rate and constant, make sure identify what x represents in each situation. Then once you establish your elements, plug them into the formula to create the inequality, solve, and graph. Remember, once you submit your work, make sure you use the key to check all of your answers and make any corrections. Again, very crucial before you take